are a child of the Depression, you are always a child of the Depression. It is a process that shapes your values, your habits, your character, everything. You just are. However, I did not know I was a child of the Depression because my parents were such good managers that life was just normal. My father, before I tell you about the Great Depression, let me show you who I am. And now, Gracie has never seen these pictures, and this happens to be her daddy. And this is the first time she's ever seen this picture. Now, I know you won't believe it, but this newspaper is of the date 1929. I'm going to repeat that date, 1929. That is a long time ago.
Do you want to send everything that way?
No, I don't send that. That's too
No, this is not one. Okay.
And then here is Eleanor Jean when she was 4 years old. And Eleanor Jean later when she had grown just a little bit more.
You haven't changed at all.
Still roll your eyes.
These aren't
Still
one.
curly.
Now my father was an attorney. He was busy all the time. There was always legal business to do in the Great Depression. The Great Depression hit everyone. The Great Recession has hit people with houses, loss of houses, all of these things. We had houses in the Great Depression, just that the banks didn't have any money. When they failed, it was gone. But we won't talk about that. But afterwards, my father was repaid thousands of times. He was the United States District Attorney for 17 years. This is a little commemoration of the United States District Attorneys for Northern Oklahoma. His name is in there. Then he became the county judge, and he was elected time after time, but it wasn't too difficult because he never had an opponent. Now my mother was a very good house manager. She made every stitch of my clothing, including my coats, and that of my sister. Unfortunately, that talent did not come down to me. It went to my sister, and it went to my daughter. And so I do not sew, among other things that I don't do. And but what we did in our home was just what we did. I didn't know that you went out to dinner. You stopped at this little place, and you stopped at that. You ate at home. My mother prepared very simple but very nutritional dinner. Oh, I forgot. And I actually follow her system today of what you fix for dinners. She would cook one meal at a time, prepare it. Plates were there, everything went on it. Brother got a little more than I did, and sister got a little less than I. Dad got all he wanted, and then I guess she got what was left. No leftovers, that was it. You cleaned your plate automatically because that was it. Those things do not bother you when that is your way of life, and that was our way of life. And it was just as normal for me as some of the children today who have everything in the world that they want. But I did obtain my values, my habits, and my character from those early years of being a child of the Depression. Now, I am not a fan, as many of you know, for store shopping, but I have a weakness for these kind of coupons that come, and I'll go through them. And just a couple of days ago, I sent away for about 6 or 7, 8 of these. Only cost me $45. The box will come, I'll open it up, and I have all these little gadgets and things that I love to accumulate. During my childhood, scouting was a very important part of my life. I was a brownie, a scout, a camper, a camp counselor, and finally a troop leader. And I loved every bit of it. In fact, I know you will probably not believe this, but I actually sold more Girl Scout cookies than any other scout in the Tulsa area. I don't believe that. And my dad could not believe it. He could not believe it when he was driving around. He said, "You went into that apartment? How fast that? I went to that apartment, that one. Never again." Now, I want you to know, this is Eleanor in her little scout uniform. Down here is the Camp Scott with its rusty cabins, latrines outside, which we cleaned. Now, Camp Scott was a very wonderful place. However, tragedy, it closed a few years after I was there because it was in the woods, and 2 girls, campers, were murdered in the cabin. And they thought they knew who it was, but even on his deathbed, he would never admit that to that. So Camp Scott is gone forever. I lived in Tulsa, stayed there until I went to Oklahoma State University. We moved one time. I do remember one summer which was very boring, but it was boring because we were young. It was in the time of the polio epidemic, and everything public was shut down in Tulsa. You stayed in your own neighborhood. You did not go to movies, closed. You didn't go to swimming pool, no, closed. All of the public places were closed. But some of my friends did not escape, and they are the ones who walked with the limp, their arms a little bit short, you know. It hit, and it was a fearful time. Then I went to Oklahoma State University, and it was chaos. It was chaos. 1946, a little while ago, 1946, the war was over. The colleges, universities had no idea that the veterans could be discharged so fast and descend in swarms on the colleges. And it was just overwhelming. For example, the registration was tables, lines. You stood in line, you signed up for the class. If the class was filled before you got there, went around and looked for another class that you could take. So, but it was chaos down there. So in the afternoon, they sent everybody up to the balcony. Then they were going to file down peacefully and in orderly fashion, sign up for their courses. Impatient, probably the veterans, impatient. Over the balcony, they came down to the floor, and then everybody else came, all this shoving and pushing. It was chaos. So that was my introduction to college, was chaos. But oh, the best part is to come. I was in the freshman English class. My friends and I were sitting on the front row, you know, just another little English class to get started with our college education. Veterans sitting on the back, scared to death, because now they're sitting in an academic atmosphere, and they had just come from the war, and they did not even know whether they could pass. Now here is the best part of all. This is my most cherished. Oh, this one I'll just pass around because I don't need to talk about that. I was part of the Alpha Chi Omega first installation on the campus of Oklahoma State University, and they made a big deal out of it. So this is one of the pictures that the paper